So a tweet that was originally supposed to get the attention of J.Cole and Pusha T results into a battle between Don Q and Tory Lanez. If you're not familiar with who Don Q is, he is a rapper from New York City, specifically from High Bridge in the Bronx. He's affiliated to A Boogie. And Don Q's his relevance sort of came into play with something that was involving Tory Lanez. As you guys remember, he had a Funkmaster Flex freestyle with A Boogie about 2 years back. And then later on, Tory Lanez shows up on this very same freestyle show of Funkmaster Flex's, and he emulates Don Q's style. But let me not get ahead of myself. Let's set the table. So the tracks that I'm about to discuss are Don Q's I'm Not Joyner, which was his first track, and then the response by Tory, which was Don Queen. And then we're going to finish it off with Don Q's This Is Your King. There were also other diss records from New York City artists that were thrown at Tory Lanez. We got a record from My Son, J Hood, and J.R. Ryder. In order of best to worst, I would say that J.R. Ryder had the best song. Then you had My Son, and then it was J Hood bringing up the rear. I got to tell you, the winner of this battle was Tory Lanez, and I can confidently say that because of this reason. People don't like the idea of two artists talking with each other on IG Live, but I like that. I like the fact that Tory did that with Joyner, and he did it with Don Q this time, because as I told you guys before, that makes this a very finite battle. It makes this a battle that we can easily judge because we see the beginning, we see the middle, and we see the end. With most beefs, we don't know why this happened. We don't know why it's coming about. Of course, everybody throws out, he's doing it for attention. He's doing it for that's everybody's initial response to everything. But since we can see people on Twitter, we can see them on IG, and then we see them make records, we see 1, 2, and 3. So we know what everything is about, so we can judge the battle based on the records. There's no behind the scenes, there's no insider stuff to it. It's very basic. A lot of people like to compare rap records to battle events, but these two feuds that Tory's been on, I think, are the closest thing that we've ever had in the hip hop industry to a URL event or a King of the Dot event, because it's very simple. You have a finite structure within a battle circuit. You have Arsenal has to meet up with Murder Mook, and they have to go to this location at this time. You see the beginning, the middle, and the end, and then you choose your winner, even though those battles don't have a decided winner. It's just public opinion. So because of that, I can confidently say that Tory Lanez won this battle. Now let's start with I'm Not Joyner. First of all, pretty obvious. It's a shot towards Joyner Lucas, and I think looking back now, Joyner can say, yes, you're not Joyner because I beat Tory and you did not. I'm Not Joyner was a solid record. He chose the victory beat. And my issue with Don Q is he punches in so much. You know, everybody compares Don Q. They compare him to, I think Tory compared him to Styles P. He's been compared to other people, but I think I would liken him to Cassidy. Like, because Cassidy's somebody who constantly punches in. It's like Cassidy does a verse for 3 minutes, and it sounds like 20 people talking at once. Because every 2 bars, he comes back in, he comes back in, he comes back in. And it's something that you wouldn't really expect, because it's not like his delivery is very fast. So his breath control is very weak. But it was really solid. I like how he came at Tory. Obviously, he's going to bring out the fact that Tory took bars from him, and that, you know, and then he claims that Tory, you know, admitted to it, which is, you know, nobody knows the truth behind that. But Tory denied it. But Tory seems to me to be the type of guy that he'll say a lot of things, and then later on he'll just retract from it. He'll just be like, no, I didn't say that. Why didn't you say it? Because I didn't say it. Okay, whatever. He seems to me like he says a lot of things. So I wouldn't doubt that he did admit that he said it. That he did admit that he actually stole those lines. So I wasn't really impressed with I'm Not Joyner, but I at least felt that he set the stage. You know, obviously by using that beat, you have to set the stage. Like, you're making it feel very epic. Now, Tory comes back with Don Queen, and he claims that, you know, he's not gonna respond to Don Q after this. And he totally kills him. He destroys him. Like there's no doubt about it. I mean, he comes out with the pettiness. You know, he says he's got an STD. You know, you're broke. You drive this truck or whatever, and he mentions A Boogie, which was something that Don Q didn't want him to mention. I don't agree with people doing that, by the way. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for me to make a diss record to you, and then at the end of my diss record, I tell you what not to say, right? I tell you, don't mention this. Don't mention my YouTube channel if you diss me. That sounds kind of silly because it sounds like I'm insecure. You know, I'm insecure about it, and it's going to expose something about me, and I don't want you to mention it. Unless he's saying it because he wants to make it seem like his diss record is predictable, so he knows he's going to mention A Boogie, so he's going to say don't mention A Boogie. But in any case, don't be so sensitive. Your opponent has the right to say whatever it is that they have to say. But Don Queen was extremely solid, and this was the Tory Lanez that I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear this Tory Lanez when he went at Joyner, and he lost. Do you hear me? He lost to Joyner Lucas. And now you can sort of see the comparison of Tory going up against somebody who he's technically better than. And do you know why? Because of breath control. Because Tory probably punched in 2 to 3 times on this record and going at a faster speed than Don Q. Don Q punched in like 50 times and Tory Lanez probably 2 to 3 times. And just on that technical aspect alone, aside from the lyrics and just the delivery, Tory wins because of that, because he's just a better, more polished overall MC. Don Q sounds decent. You know, he gives me a lot of, early 2000 mixtape vibes. He gives me a lot of that, but it's a style that's sort of outmoded and it's not really effective anymore. I feel like Don Q would do a lot of damage if he went a cappella without a beat and he can just go straight forward and just talk to Tory. But obviously that's not the case. He has to use a beat. Now, speaking of a beat, he made a bad beat selection when it came to his final track, which was This Is Your King. This Is Your King was tons of filler. I felt like Don Q didn't say anything at all. I didn't hear anything of value. And it was just a waste. He used Mobb Deep's Burn, and I kind of felt like the record should have he should have flipped him. He should have used Burn and then maybe went at him with the Victory. You know, battle records have to be epic. You know, they have to be epic, and a beat helps you. It's sort of your, how do I want to say this? It's sort of your it's your complimentary component on a diss record. It's not just the MC, but it's the attitude that he comes with, and the beat selection is represented by that. And I think when you use Mobb Deep's Burn, it's just a couple jabs that didn't really land, and I think Tory won this one without a doubt. And I'm glad that this happened because you can see the comparison between somebody who Tory is much better than and someone who Tory had to imitate to say that he beat, and that was the deal with Joyner. Because I had so many people saying, oh yeah, Tory beat you. I don't see how Tory beat him. Even Don Q said it on his own record. Don Q said, you bit Joyner's style. You know, so I don't know what the whole, I'm not Joyner thing, what that's all about. And I'm very surprised that Joyner didn't respond or do any records whatsoever. I guess because he pretty much figured this would be the outcome. But I felt Tory Lanez took this very easily, and I don't know where this is going to end. I don't know where this is going to go, but I like what Tory's doing. I absolutely love what Tory's doing because it's bringing the competitive aspect back, and a lot of people don't like it. They think Tory Lanez is doing this for attention, and I don't think that's why he's doing it. If he's putting records together, then he's doing it because he wants to prove something. I think we should start looking at Tory as more of an MC. I know he has the R&B background, but maybe he's better suited for this because his turnover is very quick. I mean, he comes up with these records very quickly. It seems like writing a rap record, a diss record is very easy for him to do. So I think he's more suited to this, and I like what he's doing. Will it end with him versus Pusha T or him versus J.Cole? I don't know, but I would say that he's building himself up to be a formidable opponent. So if there's a record at one point against the Pusha T, against the J. Cole, or against the Royce the 5'9", I wouldn't recommend that. Okay? Let's not go that far. If let it be known that those three names that I mentioned, that I only make this judgment against J. Cole because I've never heard J. Cole on a diss record, but I've heard Pusha T on a diss record. And I've heard Royce the 5'9" on many. So I will say that he best tread lightly if he's going to go up against Royce the 5'9". But what Tory's doing is he's building himself up to be a creditable opponent. So if he does make a record, the internet is sort of going to look at that artist sort of in the same way that Machine Gun Kelly made his record, and everyone sort of looked at Eminem and said, you got to respond to this. And Eminem felt the heat, and even Eminem came out. So Tory's building up his status to the point that if he does make a record against somebody, it's going to be very valid and someone is going to have to respond. What did you guys think about this exchange of records? What did you feel about Don Q's I'm Not Joyner? What did you feel about Tory Lanez Don Q and Don Q's This Is Your King? Please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.